Putin's Belarus nightmare is unfolding faster than anyone could have imagined, shaking the foundations of his long-standing influence in Eastern Europe. The alliance between Russia and Belarus, once portrayed as unbreakable, now appears to be crumbling from within. For years, Belarus served as Moscow's loyal partner, a military outpost, and a political ally in Putin's effort to maintain a stronghold over former Soviet territories. But what was once a reliable extension of Russian power has turned into a growing threat. The Belarusian army, once devoted to maintaining order and supporting Lukashenko's rule, is now showing signs of defiance, with whispers of rebellion spreading through its ranks. The revolution that began with public frustration is now reaching the heart of the military, signaling that change might be inevitable. Before we go further, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe to FreedomCast News and click the bell icon so you never miss our daily global updates. Your support helps us bring you truth and insight from around the world. The story begins with rising unrest across Belarus. Economic instability, political suppression, and Moscow's deep interference in local governance have created a perfect storm. The Belarusian people, weary of decades of authoritarian rule, are no longer afraid to speak out. Protests that were once small and scattered have grown into massive waves of demonstrations across cities like Minsk, Grodno, and Brest. Videos emerging from the streets show thousands of citizens holding flags, chanting for freedom, and demanding an end to both Lukashenko's dictatorship and Russia's shadow control. The government tried to silence them through arrests, intimidation, and media censorship, but the protests only grew louder, and in an unexpected twist, many soldiers have started to refuse orders to fire on the people, calling themselves protectors of the nation rather than servants of tyranny. The moment that line between citizen and soldier disappears, every dictatorship begins to shake. Inside the Kremlin, the panic is palpable. Putin, who has always viewed Belarus as a buffer against NATO and a crucial part of his regional dominance, now faces a nightmare scenario. Losing Belarus would not just mean losing an ally, it would mean exposing Russia's western border to potential Western influence. This isn't just a political setback, it's a strategic disaster. Russian intelligence reports indicate that cracks are forming within the Belarusian armed forces. Some generals are maintaining contact with Russian commanders, while others are quietly supporting the protesters. It's a dangerous split, one that could erupt into open conflict at any moment. Putin's advisors are pressing him to intervene more forcefully, but every move risks pushing Belarus closer to complete rebellion. What's happening externally is only part of the story. Inside Belarus, there is a deep emotional and political transformation taking place. The people, once paralyzed by fear, have begun to find strength in unity. Many of them grew up under Lukashenko's rule, watching promises of stability fade into a reality of economic decline and repression. The average Belarusian worker now faces poverty, unemployment, and rising prices. Russian financial aid once kept the economy afloat, but as Moscow struggles with sanctions and military overreach in Ukraine, that support is drying up. Factories are closing, wages are shrinking, and the frustration is boiling over. Even the security forces, who were supposed to crush dissent, are feeling the same hardships. Soldiers and police officers are starting to see the protesters not as enemies, but as neighbors, friends, and family. As the rebellion grows, the performance of both leaders is under the microscope. Lukashenko's ability to maintain order is fading fast. His speeches are filled with desperation, blaming everyone from NATO to Western spies for the chaos, yet offering no real solutions. His long-standing strategy of ruling through fear no longer works when the fear itself turns into anger. Putin's performance, too, is faltering. His typical methods, propaganda, secret funding, and political manipulation, are failing to stop the shift in loyalty. The more he tries to control Belarus, the more resistance he faces. Even some Russian citizens, weary of endless wars and political games, are questioning why their government continues to prop up foreign dictators instead of fixing problems at home. The deeper you look, the clearer it becomes that this is not just a political conflict. It's a human one. Soldiers once sworn to obey orders are now standing shoulder to shoulder with protesters, holding signs that read, "We serve the people, not the tyrant." The scenes from the streets show a mixture of pride and pain. Mothers cry as their sons refuse to fight their own people, while fathers march alongside students demanding a new beginning. It's a moment of national awakening. The army, once seen as an extension of Moscow's will, is now turning into a symbol of hope for Belarus's future. This transformation is Putin's greatest fear because it challenges the very model of control he built across the post-Soviet region. The security structure that once made Russia's influence untouchable is now falling apart. Joint exercises between the Russian and Belarusian militaries have been cancelled. Commanders who once coordinated seamlessly are now suspicious of each other. There are reports that some Belarusian officers have begun leaking information to Western media and neighboring governments to expose Russian manipulation. This is not just defiance, it's rebellion at the highest levels of power. If the military fully aligns with the people, Lukashenko's rule could collapse within weeks. Putin would then face a strategic void right on his border, a nightmare scenario that could encourage similar uprisings in other allied states like Kazakhstan or Armenia. The alliance that was once built on fear and loyalty now feels like a crumbling building. Russia once believed it could guarantee control through money, propaganda, and brute strength, but the Belarus crisis has shown that control has limits. No amount of intimidation can suppress the will of people who have nothing left to lose. The loyalty of soldiers cannot be bought forever when their own families suffer under the same oppression. The revolution taking shape in Belarus is not being directed by foreign powers, as Russian media claims. It's born out of decades of frustration, injustice, and betrayal, and the more Moscow denies it, the more it grows. For Putin, the stakes could not be higher. Belarus has been a crucial logistical partner for Russia's military strategy, especially in its operations in Ukraine. Losing access to Belarusian territory would cut off key supply lines and weaken Russia's western defense. It would also deliver a massive psychological blow to Putin's image as the unchallenged strongman of Eastern Europe. International observers are calling this a turning point. If Belarus manages to break free from Moscow's orbit, it could inspire a domino effect across the region. Countries that have long remained silent under Russian pressure might finally find the courage to resist, but freedom always comes with a price. The road ahead for Belarus is uncertain and dangerous. The possibility of violent crackdowns looms large. Putin may attempt to send special forces or mercenaries to restore control, just as he did in Crimea and eastern Ukraine. Sanctions could intensify, and the Belarusian economy might suffer even more before it recovers. Yet despite these risks, the determination of the Belarusian people remains unshaken. They are tired of living under foreign influence, tired of watching their nation serve as a pawn in someone else's game. For them, this revolution is not just about politics, it's about dignity, identity, and the right to choose their own future. As days turn into weeks, the situation is evolving rapidly. Reports from independent sources claim that certain army units have openly declared neutrality, refusing to act against civilians. Civil society groups are stepping in to maintain order, helping to distribute food, protect public spaces, and care for the wounded. It's a powerful display of unity and self-governance. For Putin, this is a nightmare come true. Every time a soldier chooses people over power, his grip on the region weakens. The image of Russian invincibility that he spent 2 decades building is now being challenged by ordinary men and women standing up for their freedom. This moment is not just about Belarus, it's a reflection of a broader truth. Authoritarian systems rely on fear, but once fear collapses, so does control. The Belarusian revolution has exposed the vulnerability of regimes that depend on lies and violence to survive. It shows that even the most powerful dictators can be shaken when their armies remember who they truly serve. The world is watching closely as this drama unfolds, knowing that what happens in Minsk could reshape the future of the region. Putin's Belarus nightmare is more than a political crisis. It's a test of how far people are willing to go for freedom. The alliance between Russia and Belarus may have been built on strategy, but it is collapsing under the weight of truth. Soldiers, once symbols of oppression, are now becoming symbols of hope. The revolution spreading through Belarus is not just rewriting its history, it's sending a message across the world that no matter how long darkness lasts, the desire for liberty will always find a way to rise again. If you think this turning point could change Europe's balance forever, tell us what you believe in the comments. Do you think Putin will risk direct intervention, or will he watch Belarus slip away? We'd love to hear your thoughts below. Thank you for watching FreedomCast News. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. Your one click of support keeps independent journalism alive and helps us continue delivering the truth that matters. Stay safe, stay informed, and stay tuned, because this story is far from over.